Hello, I'm Mike Williams on behalf of the Bountiful Neighborhood Emergency Preparedness Council. This training is for those in leadership roles within districts and areas in the Bountiful region, focusing on disaster response. In Bountiful, for many years, a well-established structure for supporting disaster response has been in place. This includes geographically grouped neighborhoods and leadership structures, along with physical facilities that are evenly distributed throughout the region. Within this framework, disaster response district boundaries correspond to those of LDS stakes, and disaster response area boundaries correspond to those of LDS wards. The purpose of this video is to focus on two dimensions of dealing with potential disasters. First and foremost, responding to disasters in an organized way to safely help people during and after a disaster. And in advance of disasters, preparing to respond successfully. What follows then are recommendations that are offered in the context of respecting the prerogatives and responsibilities of local leaders to direct their organizations. This means that nothing in this training should be considered to be mandates, absolute requirements, or the only ways to do things. Still, it's very important that leaders and participants across our community share a common understanding of how Bountiful is organized to respond to disasters, along with principles and best practices that guide these efforts. Please note there is also a separate training video for block captains, and we recommend that district and area leaders also see that video. Let me introduce the Bountiful Neighborhood Emergency Preparedness Council, or BNEPC for short. It is made up of volunteers who have been selected for their experience and abilities in specific categories, as shown here, divided into operations, media and training, community emergency response team, or CERT classes, and technology, radio communications, and logistics. All council members are licensed ham radio operators. Most council members are certified as CERT instructors. The council operates under the direction of the city emergency manager in the Bountiful Police Department. In responding to disasters, city leaders and department heads work closely together and typically gather in a room next to the Emergency Operations Center, or EOC. BNEPC opens and operates the EOC as shown in this photo, in which you can see phone stations with computers in the foreground, incident commander and scribes, and also radio communications in the far back corner toward the center of the photo. Organizationally, Bountiful's disaster response looks like this, with the 13 disaster response districts shown, each with district leader, coordinator, and communications, and each of those with multiple areas that have leaders, coordinators, and communication specialists, and block captains and alternates. And then during a disaster, if situations arise that require more resources and focused attention, such as concentrations of casualties or the need for search and rescue, as might be experienced in something like a major earthquake, if needed and feasible, leaders and coordinators can assign CERT-trained people to form a team to respond effectively. CERTs are trained for this and have practiced it multiple times. Let's consider 3 scenarios in which leaders may need to organize a CERT team to respond to concentrations of urgent conditions. Scenario 1, the concentration of needs crosses district boundaries or is too large for any single district to address. Scenario 2, the concentration of needs crosses area boundaries within a district or is too large for any one area to address, while it is still within the abilities of multiple areas in the district to address. And scenario 3, the concentration of needs is within a single area that has sufficient resources to address. Now we'll consider the way CERT teams are activated under each of the 3 scenarios. In scenario 1, it is the EOC that assigns a district to have a CERT-trained person lead a CERT team. The EOC also may assign other districts to assist. As conditions evolve, the EOC may adjust resource assignments. CERT teams operating under scenario 1 report to the EOC. An amateur radio specialist will be assigned to the team, either from the EOC or from the assigned district. Scenario 2, it is the district leader that assigns an area leader to have a CERT-trained person lead a CERT-trained team. The district leader also may assign other areas to assist. As conditions evolve, the district leader may adjust resource assignments. Similarly, as before, CERT teams operating under scenario 2 report to the district leader. An amateur radio specialist will be assigned to the team, either from the district or from the assigned area. Now, for scenario 3, if its own resources are sufficient, the area leader may assign a CERT-trained person to lead a CERT team. As conditions evolve, the area leader may adjust resource assignments or seek help through the district. CERT teams organized under scenario 3 report to the area leader. The area leader should provide a radio communication specialist to the CERT team. Before assigning a CERT team, the leader should inform the next higher response level, the district or the EOC, so they can advise professional responders that a CERT team will be operating in the field, and also assess the likelihood that resources beyond the area or the district involved may be needed in the near future to support preparing for those kinds of contingencies. Give each CERT team thus organized location, purpose, and safety briefing. The location to operate in, the purposes to be fulfilled, such as medical triage and treatment, and the safety briefing as outlined in the block captain training. And please remember that we've already given to each district a list of all people who have been CERT trained by the BNEPC. However, in any situation, if you do not have that list or are unable to find or muster the needed CERT people, go to the next higher level and request help. So that was an overview of organizational structure for Bountiful's disaster response, including the potentially vital CERT teams that may need to be organized. Now let's take a step back and look at factors that will affect our disaster response planning. Many key people may not be available. There will be an increased number and seriousness of dangerous conditions. Urgent needs will be more. First responders will be less able to timely cover all needs. Communications will be degraded or unavailable. Utilities and roads may be damaged or unusable. In this context, our disaster response plans will be less vulnerable to those impacting factors if they incorporate the following principles. Minimal dependence on who happens to be home at the time. Real-time accountability established quickly and independent of who happens to be home. Pre-planned and pre-positioned resources. Regularly exercised communications. For that, you would select communications devices that are not dependent on landlines or cellular, and you position such devices both with block captains and with the command post. Applying these principles, we recommend the following approach, which is a brief overview for both district and area leaders, all of which has as a first priority assuring the safety and well-being of our own family and home. Then at the outset of a disaster, everyone who can help, especially leaders and those trained to respond, go directly to the pre-designated command post. On their way to the command post, write down observations of things that may need attention. In addition, train people on these rules of thumb, such as the first person to arrive at the command post is the lead. A scribe should be early assigned. They'll be very important in tracking communications and assignments. And arriving people should sign in and report their observations. From these incoming reports, the area command post lead identifies blocks not yet reported on, assigns people to go out in pairs to assess the situation and report back. Also, the command post lead reports to the district command post, which in turn reports to the City Emergency Operations Center. The area CP lead makes and tracks assignments to help people in need by prioritizing the help to the most urgent and requesting any needed outside help from the district or the city. And you'll see then, this approach incorporates the planning principles described earlier and helps mitigate the impact of adverse factors that will occur during disasters. Now we'll focus on district and area leaders in making advanced preparations to respond to disasters. First, assign a disaster response coordinator who is a reliable, resourceful, collaborative leader and has skills, aptitudes, and abilities to do the kinds of things listed here. But please note that responding to disasters is very different from teaching self-reliance or coordinating emergency preparedness, as important as those things are. Specifically, disaster response coordinators must be capable of helping leaders make challenging decisions, taking the initiative and timely carrying out critical actions that may be essential to saving lives, and stepping into leader roles if the need arises. Next, assign radio communications specialists who meet the following criteria: amateur radio license, whether at the area or district level, and making and exercising plans for communicating. While the foregoing addressed both district and area leaders, here are a few more details about districts responding to disasters. After opening the command post, join the EOC radio net. The frequencies are given. Have a scribe keep records, dates, times, assignments, and reports. Contact the areas, ideally through a radio-based net, even if cell phones are working, because it permits simultaneous information sharing with and among areas. Collect reports of needs and statuses, focusing on people's urgent needs, and then on issues with structures, utilities, and roads. Where urgent needs exceed the district's ability to respond, the district requests help through the EOC. Area leader responsibilities and actions in responding to disasters are very similar to those of district leaders, except that area leaders are dealing with situations and needs that are actually happening nearby, and with block captains and others who are directly involved in helping those people. In this context, as noted before, the command post is opened by the first to arrive at the designated location, typically the meeting house, and area communicators join the district's radio net. Block captains and others arrive, sign in, and report. And for ongoing coordination, the area initiates its own radio communications with block captains and others who are helping. The command post lead organizes sending help to people, reporting statuses to the district, and requests help from the district if the needs exceed the area's resources. That completes both an overview and a context of the district's and area leaders' responsibilities in responding to disasters, and an overview of their preparing to respond. Next, we'll dive a little deeper into the area coordinators' preparations in advance of disasters. First, maps of blocks in the area and lists of residents. The separate training for block captains will describe in more detail the area maps. Now, as for district maps, these can be found on bountifulprep.org/maps. As shown here, the first visible window offers standard and large-sized maps that will show all districts together on one map. These maps can be downloaded by clicking on the ones desired. Scrolling down, the second window that becomes visible on the web page gives access to individual district maps. The Bountiful district map is displayed here as an example. Clicking the green rectangular button near the bottom of the window provides a list of available maps in PDF format. Every district is listed, and in some cases districts have more than one map due to the size of the geography covered. Double-clicking on the name of the district desired displays something like this. In this case, again, using the Bountiful district as an example. These are high-resolution maps, so that after downloading, they can be zoomed in, cropped, and pasted into new map files with sufficient visual clarity to create multiple individual maps for areas, neighborhoods, or blocks. Then each new map can be renamed and saved for use by the areas or block captains. Now, once again, returning for more details on area preparations in advance of disasters. The area coordinator recommends to the area leader those who could be block captains and alternates. These would assist with maintaining lists and maps and responding in emergencies. The area coordinator also trains people and attends training on the coordinator role. And this is also described in more detail in the block captain training. Now, moving to the topic of communications methods. Communications are crucial to successful disaster response. Methods selected should include at least primary and secondary options, in addition to sending messengers on foot if necessary. So here we look first at alternatives, and then at some factors that affect the choice of technology for districts and areas. Cell phones and satellite phones may work for a time. Radio options include FRS with a range of about a mile, GMRS, a range of about 7 miles, and amateur or ham radios with different frequencies. The VHF and UHF work within cities and neighborhoods. HF can work between cities, states, and even countries. And messages can be sent through HF operators, Red Cross or Salvation Army. Shown here is a map of the Bountiful area along with district boundaries. These circles represent the transmission ranges of FRS and GMRS radios respectively. A given range is from the center of the circle outward, so an FRS radio located at the center could reach all places within the circle, but not if it was located elsewhere in the circle. Similarly, a GMRS radio could reach across much of the city, but not all of it. In addition, amateur or ham radio alternatives can reach across the city and between adjacent cities. For these reasons, areas would likely use FRS or GMRS, and they could also use amateur radio. Districts would likely use GMRS or ham radio for within the district. The EOC only uses amateur radio for communications with districts. One additional preparation is to encourage citizens everywhere in Davis County to register for notifications from the County Emergency Alert System. The link given here goes to this web page, and the sign-up form comes from a drop-down menu. Or the QR code takes the viewer to the sign-up form. Finally, we've already provided this tool to all district leaders to help track their district's readiness for responding to disasters based on key categories listed in the left column. Using this, leaders can set targets, record actual levels, and use these to set priorities toward progress. In addition, as mentioned before, we've already provided to all districts the names and contact information of those in their districts who have attended Bountiful CERT classes. This is provided on a strictly confidential basis to be used only for purposes of disaster preparation and response. Well, for this training to reach its potential, we invite you to pause right now and write down what has come to your mind that you should do with this. What will you do now? How can the BNEPC help you improve your readiness? Who else should receive this training? Please invite them to do so. Please send questions or requests to us through eprep@bountiful.gov and see our website for many more resources. Thank you for receiving this training. We look forward to working with you in the future.